about podcast.
Almost.
We're talking about itty bitty podcast. A podcast.
Oh, that was terrifying. Merry Mini Monday. Chunkies, I'm Carter.
I'm Doge. We forgot to put on the auto-tune.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry, guys. We forgot to put it on. Now they're going to hear what you really sound
I'm
like.
Jordan, and I just wanted everybody to know what it would be like if we weren't insane musicians.
Yeah. Be glad that it's not always like
That's
that.
what you
we weren't
you could
just
listen to a podcast that sounded like that.
If we weren't just like world-class tier
World-class
cats,
tier.
you know?
World-class
If these cats weren't laying
Meowing.
down the tracks, you know?
Can you imagine?
If this cat don't meow, that's what you hear.
Dude, I love Gandhi quotes. Jordan, you had mentioned insanity a little bit earlier, and we'll talk about a different kind of insanity that we all like to share this time each year. But first, let's talk about, I didn't intend to do much news today, but I would say in our world, big news was released. We did get it. Did y'all see the 5-minute deleted scene from The Batman?
But of course I did.
I have not watched it yet.
Okay. So we won't talk too much about it because we don't want to spoil anything, but we did get some more time. Jordan, let's have this be a conversation between us. How did you feel about it?
Good. That's as spoiler free as I feel like I can get. I felt really good about it.
I felt really good about it too. Doge, I think you would feel good about it.
I have a question for you guys, though.
Okay.
And to answer this question, we might have to travel back in time to 2005 to Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. In that movie, there is a deleted scene of the Jedi Master Shakti being killed by General Grievous on board his ship. Watched it, loved it. It was great. Couldn't understand why they cut it. However, not canon, because years and years later, we saw Shakti in The Force Unleashed, which was canon at the time, but also not canon now. All that to say, deleted scenes are not usually canon to the film they are deleted from. The canon usually begins and ends the theatrical cut unless it's released as part of an extended cut like The Lord of the Rings. Are people getting excited about this Joker clip only to realize this isn't canon? Or are we going to have to reintroduce this, like play this whole thing in the Batman 2?
No. I think this is canon.
I also
Personally.
think it's canon. It feels like they released it with every intention of people seeing it.
That
Yeah, I
seems
think
so
it'll be
strange to me. Why not put it in your movie?
It does seem
Well,
so
I
strange.
have a theory. I have a technical theory because with the actual length of that clip, it would have been literally over 3 hours long, the whole movie. And I think there's something about that window that theatrical releases want to be in. Like, I wonder if there's data
agree.
on what makes money.
The only place where I'm struggling to understand all of this is like there's definitely 5 minutes throughout the rest of the movie that could have been trimmed to make room for this.
I mean, yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, I guess I just have a weird hang up with it mentally of like, this is great, but this is not really part of the movie. It's something you filmed and then cut because somewhere along the way we said the movie doesn't need this.
Yeah. I would say Barry Keoghan should be the most upset
Yes.
about it because he did some great work. And I think if anything, I mean, we're not going to have to convince you, Doge, to watch that. I know you're
No,
gonna
I
watch
absolutely
that
will watch it. And I'm going to watch it on Matt Reeves' personal Vimeo account because the YouTube compression is terrible. Matt Reeves uploads everything from the Batman onto his personal.
That's good to know.
Uploads everything from the Batman onto his personal Vimeo account because Vimeo is able to encode and then re-encode whenever you stream video at a much, much higher fidelity than YouTube is.
Well, there it is. Doge, make sure and watch that. Those of you that haven't watched
Yeah.
it and saw the Batman, go see that clip. Check it out on Old Matt's. Old Matt, isn't that his tag for Vimeo?
I
Old
think
Matt's
so,
Vimeo.
yeah.
I
Search
watched
Old
it
Matt-
on my
Old Matt's
Keurig,
Vimeo.
and it had great
It's-
picture.
If you go to Vimeo, it's Old Matt's Crispy Vids.
That's just delirious. Whoa. Look out for the
Whoa.
segue.
Whoa.
Hey, Chunkies, around this time every year, we get to do something very fun, very extensive. This is going to be something that we do for the next 5 weeks or so. And we're going to play Spring Delirium. This is a synonymous title of something else that's going on around this time that I don't even think we can actually say, but we don't need to because we found something better. Spring Delirium this year is 64 champions that have come into the arena to go head to head to ultimately find who is the greatest video game character of all time. And
honestly, it's such an easy question to answer. I'm really not worried about us.
Not even worried about us. Before we dive in, I want to do a few parameters here. I put this list together. I looked at several lists of kind of what I had said, like who are the greatest video game characters of all time. I also looked at Metacritic, which is formerly Game Rankings. Metacritic bought Game Rankings, which is a pretty extensive collective kind of averaged out rating for video games, and looked at the highest rated ones. Wanted to make sure that I have characters from some that are most successful, some that are fan favorites. I added a few of my own that I thought were just silly and fun in the Two Chunks way. Now, I'll tell you, some of the ones that I did not add were like Batman. I thought about having Batman in this list, but we've kind of had maybe our fill of Batman over the last 2 months, and it felt, I don't know. You could have
had Max Goof from Disney's Extremely Goofy Skateboarding.
Right? Like, we could have had a lot of Disney characters from like Kingdom Hearts and things like that, but just chose not to do that. And if you have any issue, the reason I kind of bring up this disclaimer is because regardless, there's going to be somebody that reaches out either via our Instagram or our Discord and says, "Where's blank from blank show?" And maybe I didn't think of them or they didn't make it. All I have to say is I welcome your feedback.
I think
that's fine.
Including Batman, I think there are 65 total video game characters, and so we got the other 64 in here.
We got at least, yeah.
Like I said, I'm not worried about it. I think we're going to pretty easily say this is the best video game character of all time, and nobody will be upset about it. That seems easy.
How did you decide who was the left side of the bracket and who was the right side of the bracket?
How did I decide?
The left-handed ones. The left-handed ones.
It was a long process. As I was looking through this, I was kind of putting them in buckets in terms of these characters feel similar to me, both in popularity and just kind of where they're coming from. I had some that were like teams, those that are two-parters, like we won't see it on this half, but like Ratchet and Clank and Banjo-Kazooie. It's like we have these things that we're like putting those together. And then even within those little pockets of like 4 and 6 and 2, I would rank them and try and make sure that we didn't have just a bunch of sports video game characters on this side, a bunch of Mario characters on this side. That was for the point of like splitting them across and making sure that both sides were pretty strong there.
Fair enough.
These are great matchups.
Yeah, these are great matchups. And so I had asked these boys, ultimately, like, do they think they were going to approach this in terms of is this a fight to the death? Or are you just doing it? Like, what is y'all's method here in terms of deciding these matchups? And again, there's 64 characters that we've introduced. And that means there's 32 matchups here to start. We're only going to do 16 of them today, half of the bracket. What brought you to looking at each of these matchups individually?
There's a couple of these where I wish we had said fight to the death because it would have been hysterical.
Like especially the first one I might be talking about?
Yes. Or even the second one you might be talking about would be very funny as well. But I just think a much more interesting conversation is like merit both historical and interest, and just do we like them, gives a much wider funnel for discussion than just like, would Captain Falcon kill Peyton Manning?
Yeah.
And actually, yes.
And yes,
the answer is yes.
By the way, yes, he would.
Absolutely, he would. See, I tried to embody. So I actually went through this list twice, and I made my picks 2 times. And the first time, I found myself naturally falling into a fight to the death mentality. And I think it's because I was picturing each of these characters in a Smash Bros. Type of environment and trying to think of like, okay, what's their ranged attack? What's their up special? What's their down special? All of that stuff. Because a lot of these folks have been in Smash Bros.
And I'll say too, in creating my bracket, I very intentionally did not want this to be a Smash Brothers only, because we already have that, right? Like that
exists.
We don't want to do that. That's not Spring Delirium. So
I kind of mentally, the second time I went through the list, had to go back to the pre-Zoom days when we would have no parameters, and Carter would say, I'm going to count you down from 3, and you have to choose between Bing Bong and Flick, 3, 2, 1, and we just had to say something.
Yeah.
So
that was your reasoning.
That was my reasoning.
You did
a mix of both. It's a little bit of both. It's just whoever was speaking to me from that particular matchup.
I think
moment.
that
I love it.
For almost every choice I made, I have like a legitimate reason I made that choice.
I do too.
Yeah,
I wrote out a reason for Carter, for everybody.
And I'm looking forward to walking through these. What will happen is if these boys agree on the same winner, that winner just simply moves on to the bracket. We'll spend a little bit of time possibly talking about as to why that was unanimous. But then if they're different, they each get to kind of plead their case and I become the tiebreaker there. Now, ultimately, Chunkies, you will have power. I haven't decided just yet, but at least by the Sweet 16, the Chunkies will begin to choose some of these matchups, I do believe. Sweet 16, maybe even the Elite 8, but we want to do most of the work here at the front because that's just a very long Instagram story and can be intimidating if we were going through every single one of these. Before we do, though, let's do some ads.
Chunkies, are you looking to make high-quality professional live streams? Are you looking to do that very easily and quickly?
Obviously.
Perhaps.
Obviously. Yes,
I think
obviously.
we all want that. Well, I have good news. Our show this week is sponsored in part by Melon, which allows you to do just that in under 15 seconds. It streams to any of the streaming platforms, and you can bring guests on in one click. You don't have to sign up. You don't have to download anything. Works for anybody making video content, whether it's live or whether it's pre-recorded and you're uploading it at another time. Tons of brand options to help you stand out, and make
stand out. I think you stand out with it.
Cash. Fastest growing live streaming product right now, Melon.
And you can go live in just those 5 kicks and clicks. We've got stands and stands. We've got kicks and clicks. So it's multi-stream. You can do Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all that stuff all at once. Cloud-based, so our servers do all the work. As in, speaking on behalf of Melon, we've got the full HD.
Now.
We're part of their team now.
We're part of the Melon family.
I put their name on my business card. Should I not have done that?
1080p so they can see all the pores of that melon. And then it's unlimited customization like Jordan already talked about. Overlays, backgrounds, brand colors. And then there's donations. Do you want to earn income and be rich in a new tax bracket like your Chunkies, like your Chunk Boys, like your Pod Boys are? You can do that with Melon. Take 0% of those fees, by the way. All that money is going straight into your pockets if you have them on that day.
Melon's easy to set up, intuitive UI, easy in-studio navigation, nothing to install, and it will record locally onto your hard drive. You can get separate video and audio tracks for each participant if you're, maybe cutting a podcast episode together after you record. This is a great opportunity to do that. And listen, we've talked before about how easy Melon is. It's super duper easy, but should you get stuck, they have real people there, ready to help you at any point. Real humans who love you, who are proud of you, who will help you with any Melon problems you've got. And if for some reason you don't want to talk to a real human, which I get it, some people don't want to do that, they also have written video and audio guides.
If this sounds like something that's right up your alley and you're interested, I have good news. Melon has partnered with Lil Old Us to set up an awesome free trial for our dear Chunky listeners. And if you want to take part in that free trial, you're going to go to melonapp.com/chunky. That's melonapp.com/CHUNKY to get started for free today. melonapp.com/chunky.
Melon, show people your melon via live stream.
Hi, I'm Flo from Progressive. Being a baseball fanatic like me can be stressful. It's not all sports points and touchdowns. So Progressive is going to help you take your mind off your team for a moment. Instead of thinking about how they missed that goal point score, think about the Name Your Price tool from Progressive letting you choose coverage options based on your budget. Unlike your team that missed the end zone net area. Well, anyway, hope this distraction about Progressive's Name Your Price tool was helpful. It sure kept me from thinking about all those penalty balls. Yay, sports!
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Now that we're rich, let's talk about video games.
Now that we're rich, let's talk about video games. Guys, I'll tell you, almost half of our first 16 matchups, y'all are going to have to vouch for your champion.
Oh, no.
Which is always really fun, which makes me feel better about the bracket. Okay. Now, our first matchup has two gentlemen that are very similar, have shared similar careers at one point in their lives. Both have a history of knowing who they're in a relationship with. Our matchup to start is Mario of Mario Everything.
Yeah.
And Tiger Woods of
What game is he from?
PGA Tour golf. Tiger Woods, I had to, maybe this is a little bit Carter here, I had to be the representative for some of these like sports video games. I don't even know how many of these y'all played. I don't think
almost
y'all played
every
Madden.
single one of these.
You have?
Tiger Woods PGA Tour 2006. The menu music is "I Like the Way You Move" by Outkast.
Dude, come on. This is so special.
I'm pretty sure I had the
play that a lot.
PlayStation 1 like probably like 98, Tiger
lived
Woods
on a golf
99
course,
maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Shame on me.
Shame on you.
Tiger Shot. Like I remember around that time in school, we would, if someone was trying to like toss a, wad of paper into the trash bin or something like that, everyone would be like,
Yep.
because when you hit a good shot,
Tap
it would like
Z
zoom
over
in
and
on
over
his
again to
eyes.
spin
Like
it.
it just lets you know. It just lets you know that you're doing there. Obviously, to avoid controversy, and well, just because this is how it was, Mario ended up winning this matchup.
Sure, and
Any
I would
quick
say
reasons as to why.
I would say they both played golf, but I've never seen Tiger Woods party.
It's my exact same reasoning. I said Mario is proficient at many sports. Tiger is only proficient at one. Plus, Mario has a long history of squashing beef with his enemies to enjoy many games with them. And according to https://www.golfdigest.com/gallery/Tiger Woods enemy list photos, Tiger Woods has many enemies.
There's enemy list photos. It says enemy list photos.
If you click that link, it is a long scroll of Tiger Woods' top like 11 or 10 enemies.
I mean, it's literally like Lego Batman scene.
Yes.
The real answer is it's Mario.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, it's just Mario. Now our next
Tiger Woods isn't going to knock Mario out first round for best video game character of all time poll.
Our next matchup is some pretty hard-hitting ladies here. And we've got Isabel from...
It's ladies' night in the ring.
From Animal Crossing and Samus.
Samus.
Yeah.
Samus of Metroid Prime. We had differences here.
Oh.
Doge picked Isabel.
I did.
Jordan picked Samus. Jordan, plead your case.
I'm honestly shocked that there was a difference here. Metroid games are one of the most popular games ever made and have literally defined an actual genre named after them, of games that have copied their go forward, grab the thing that lets you go back and open the door you passed long ago. Metroid games have inspired so many of the most popular games now, like Souls games, Elden Ring, things like that wouldn't exist without Metroid, and Castlevania to an extent as well. But Samus, on top of that, the first Metroid game playing all the way through, getting to the end credits, and then finding out that Samus is a girl was a pretty big cultural moment. So
that's huge.
Yeah, you had to throw your controller away. You've been playing as a girl the whole time. That's
you gotta watch
embarrassing.
it. So
that's
to me, Samus is weirdly one of the most culturally significant video game characters.
I would say up against anybody except Isabel. I would agree with you. The reason I picked Isabel, honestly, the main reason is because I think that Animal Crossing, particularly the Switch iteration, in fact, exclusively the Switch iteration, might be one of the most important video games of all time because of how dialed into that game everybody got when everything went wrong, when everything was super bad outside in the real world. Animal Crossing provided a space for people to go and feel safe, and a space that had very clear rules, that was understandable. At least for me, that's the role it played in my life, when it was like, I can't watch the news or look at my phone or do anything. All I can do is go try to sell some turnips because I understand how that works. And that makes sense to me. And this is predictable and it's safe and it's calm. That is the only reason that I'm putting Isabel over Samus, because I think that game will be regarded as one of the most important. It's not the best video game of all time. Absolutely not even close, but probably one of the most important games of all time to me.
Sure.
Yeah.
I hear that.
I love that argument. This is so fun. I love also that it kind of I was feeling things I didn't think I would feel talking through video game character matchups. But yeah, I think in terms of the recency bias of Isabel, like that's certainly something that has a lot of influence. And it is going to be interesting to see over time if that's just going to be a flash in the pan or something that
Sure.
It'll be like a generational moment, which I think is going to be strange to share video game generational type differences. But ultimately, I'm going to go with Samus for the long term and all the influence there, and just kind of being educated on this in general. That was a great matchup. That's not what I expected. So that means the next round, Mario and Samus will be against each other.
Yes. Yeah.
No, it can't be.
No.
Our next matchup
That's
was
impossible.
It's impossible. By the way, did I ever mention why we're about to do a video game series? Don't forget to go vote on that.
We just like talking about video games.
I mean, I'm down. I guess I'm down. Yeah, we have a 5-week video game series that will start not tomorrow.
And to be clear,
we're talking about JP.
To be clear, we're talking about video game movies. I was telling my wife we're doing a video game series, and she's like, "So you're just talking about like games that you've played recently?"
No.
It's like, I mean, we already do that. That's every series, basically.
It is every series.
Yeah. It's true.
Our next matchup was Diddy Kong and
Sub-Zero.
Sub-Zero of Mortal Kombat. This was unanimous.
Yeah.
You both chose Sub-Zero. Talk to me here. Now, Diddy Kong had his own separate video. Diddy Kong Racing was kind of the Mario Kart B.
It was a good game, but nobody's cosplaying as Diddy Kong at Comic-Con. Like Sub-Zero and Mortal Kombat is like a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah.
This is one of the ones where I defaulted to fight to the death because Diddy Kong, according to the Diddy Kong wiki, is a spider monkey, and spider monkeys must have humid, kind of temperate, tropical climates to survive.
I am so confused by your methods for this bracket.
I'm going with what I feel. Every single one is like, do I feel like this is an argument that makes sense, or do I want to have fun with it? And I had fun with this one because Sub-Zero could destroy Diddy Kong's habitat.
Amazing.
So Sub-Zero
just freeze it up.
Yeah, so Sub-Zero's better.
All right. Our next matchup was another one that y'all were on different ends here. We have Commander Shepard against Bowser. Doge chose Commander Shepard, and Jordan chose Bowser. Unpack Commander Shepard a little bit for us here, Doge.
I think
this is a Mass Effect, by the way.
Certainly. From a meta standpoint, I think the influence of Commander Shepard is the increased, it's basically the BioWare kind of choice-based RPG of it all. Mass Effect was absolutely genre-defining in that way. BioWare coming straight off of Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2 into Mass Effect, and then kind of getting bought by EA and going down the drain a little bit. But Mass Effect 1 and 2, at least, I think are really genre-defining. It's some of the most important games of all time, just in terms of pushing the boundaries of what we can do with the medium. And from in-universe, I think that Commander Shepard has both faced and defeated alien threats that are more powerful than Bowser, and also successfully negotiated peace and maintained close personal friendships with aliens that are more violent than Bowser is. So I kind of think, I don't know, that's why I went Shepard. Jordan, have you played Mass Effect?
No.
Because Mass Effect is some of the first three at least are like Hall of Famers for me. Some of my favorite games ever.
Very good.
Did you play? He asked if you played.
I'd said no.
Oh, gotcha. Sorry, I didn't hear you. Jordan, tell me about Bowser.
I mean, the easy answer is you didn't have to remind our listeners what game Bowser comes from, and you did feel the need to remind them what game Commander Shepard comes from. I think that Commander Shepard sort of being a blank slate that the player gets to decide who they are by nature, I mean, kind of makes him less of an iconic character because he is different for everybody's different playthroughs, because it's a choose your own adventure type game. And then on top of that, it's Bowser. Like, it's maybe the most iconic villain ever. And I don't think that necessarily wins out every time, but when it's Bowser versus somebody who needs a refresher of where they come from, it seems clear cut to me.
As I feel like I've taken a bite, like I've got this new, not necessarily jambalaya type food. I've taken bites. I'm like, oh, this isn't as spicy as I thought it would be. And then like my third bite, I'm like,
oh, it's hitting you. Oh, it's in the back of your throat now.
And now I'm looking for seeds because I'm like, interesting. I thought
I picked them all out.
Oh, that's it. That's why so they didn't completely clean the pepper before we put it in here. I enjoy it though. I enjoy it. I'm going to have to go with Bowser here. But again, another great argument. And Doge, your argument, I am not remiss in acknowledging that your argument was very similar to Jordan's argument for Samus. But I'm trying to go kind of based off of my own gut here as we move forward. But again, you guys know your stuff. Our next match was unanimous. It was Zelda
Yeah.
against Team Rocket.
There's nothing called the Legend of Team Rocket.
And have they ever won anything?
Nobody thinks that Ash's name is Team Rocket.
Are we agreed and split on is every matchup one agree and one split?
Feels like we're alternating.
Yeah.
It's for a while, yes.
Okay.
For quite a while, yes. So Zelda moves on. Our next matchup is Nathan Drake of Uncharted and Toad of Mario. I just want to say of because that was used. I felt like I got used as ammunition last time, and I'm just here to mediate.
Sure.
Jordan chose Nathan Drake. Doge chose Toad.
Woo.
Doge chose Toad. Doge chose Toad.
That's a ting twaster.
It's a ting twaster. Jordan, you start first this time.
Sure.
Doge had the lead last time. Nathan Drake, why?
Nathan Drake feels like he was the first video game icon of a new generation of video game consoles where Nintendo, who was previously the king of like iconic video game characters, I would say, just kind of across the board, suddenly fell off and were like floundering over in this Wii generation. PlayStation steps up and is like, we're going to start to make this kind of broad, appealing, blockbuster style of games. And they go with this Uncharted series starring Nathan Drake. And I just feel like the Uncharted series inspired the Tomb Raider reboots and inspired more talkative main characters, all because of the way that Nathan Drake talks. And on top of that, just a really, really fantastic leading main character who's a lot of fun. So I don't know. It felt like I remember playing the demo for Uncharted on the PS3, like the 10-minute or 30-minute little demo thing. And I remember feeling in the demo, like, I think I'm playing something cool, even in a demo. Like, this feels very interesting. So yeah, that was my reasoning.
It's kind of Indiana Jonesy.
Very.
You know what I'm saying? But
That's the reason that he didn't win out for me.
Go check out our merch store for all the new Doge chose Toad merch. Doge chose Toad.
Yeah, Nathan Drake did not win out for me because it is interactive Indiana Jones, which is great. That is like 100% my exact flavor. If you've been listening to the show for any amount of time, you know that interactive Indiana Jones, National Treasure kind of vibe, kind of Tomb Raider, but better, is 100% what I'm into. And I love those games. But also it's Toad. I mean, I think that's a similar argument to why Bowser won, because it's Toad. I mean, I'm not sure if we go in universe, the Mario Wiki lists superhuman strength, superhuman speed, pyrokinesis, cryokinesis, and kart driving as Toad's unique abilities.
Why did that get listed last? Usually the last thing is like the most impressive, right?
That is the most impressive. How does he reach the pedals? He does not have legs. He just has feet connected to a butt.
That's true.
Yeah, I guess for some reason, Toad does not strike me as iconic as Mario, Bowser, Peach. Like,
see, I feel like
there.
I feel like you have Mario. I feel like if we compare it to the Mickey Mouse friends, we have like Mickey, and then every like Goofy, Donald, Daisy, Minnie Mouse, Pluto. Like everybody's kind of just level after that. I feel like it's Mario, and then everybody's equally as popular after that. To me, in my mind,
I do not think of it that way, but I hear you.
Yeah, we'll have plenty of time to talk about that. But for now, Toad moves on. Toad moves past Nathan. Doge chose Toad. So did Carter. Our next matchup was unanimous. It was Kirby.
Yeah, it's definitely Kirby.
Against, again, when we were talking about icons, though, Leon Kennedy could be up there of Resident Evil. I think, wasn't that one of the, was that Resident Evil is essentially like zombie vibes, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
I never played any of them because I get way too scared of immersive games like that.
Yeah, Leon Kennedy is definitely iconic, but not more iconic, I would say, than Kirby.
Yeah. Well, there you go. There hasn't been many movies made about Kirby, but there have been some made about Leon.
That's true.
I mean, there's a Raccoon City. At least I know. I'm showing you I don't know much about scary games because I don't play them. Kirby moves on. Next we have, is it pronounced Rayman?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Because in my mind, we'll get there.
Do you think it was Rayman?
We've got mans against mans.
Yeah.
Rayman against Pac-Man. It was unanimous once again.
Okay, obviously.
You both picked Pac-Man. Would y'all have been surprised if someone picked Rayman?
Yeah.
Did y'all play Rayman?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Wait,
Rayman is
Jordan,
fun.
you did.
Yeah, Rayman is fun. It's Pac-Man.
He kept showing up on some of these lists of like, especially some of the underrated video game characters. Was it because he didn't have too many video games?
No, I think that there are people that just got really attached. The games are fine. It's not special to me, but it's fine.
It's because it's a third party studio trying to make an icon like that. Like I feel like most of these like Mario, Sonic level icons. I mean, Sonic was third party and then bought by Nintendo, but most of these like
Sonic wasn't. I mean, Sega. Sega was Sega.
Sure, but then Nintendo purchased the rights to that and had exclusive licensing for Sonic for a little while. And so, like, in my mind, I still think of him as first party. But, like, a lot of these icons are not created by third-party studios, at least in that realm. We've got, like, Street Fighter stuff and, like, Resident Evil stuff. But trying to compete against Mario and Sonic, if you're not published by Nintendo, you're not going to be, like, iconic like them.
Nah.
Yep. I mean, you heard it here first. Not everybody loves Rayman. I was looking at this and was just thinking like,
I was waiting for one of those.
Yep.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do. He's eating all the balls.
All the ghosts.
I don't know what to say.
This little yellow guy keeps eating all my ghosts.
Deborah the ghost.
Oh no. How am I supposed to do this without my mom?
Deborah.
This little yellow guy took the human baby. Now we can't get him back to the people that
that was really good.
Is from.
The beginning of that sentence was very good.
This little yellow guy took the human baby.
Yep. Stick right there.
Diego.
Yeah.
Sid.
There he is.
And then Johnny Legs does that lateral lisp.
Everybody loves me.
He's like, hey guys.
Everybody loves me, Raymond.
I wish I could see the next matchup in real life.
I know.
It was Sonic of Sonic the Hedgehog fame and of the fast food place. And Oddjob of GoldenEye. Oddjob was one of the first tilting characters I can ever remember in my life. Y'all played GoldenEye?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Obviously. So when you're doing the multiplayer, Oddjob was like 4'10", and all you had to do was get right up close to him. If you're Oddjob, though, people are like the whoosh, like if you don't have a weapon and you're
Chops
trying to
only,
hit,
baby.
You just miss him, and he gets to throw his hat once. I mean, I think we needed to at least have Oddjob.
Having some GoldenEye representation is a great idea.
But sometimes you got to just let a sweep be a sweep. You know what I mean?
He lost terribly. Sonic moves on. Our next matchup was another unanimous.
Yeah.
We had Crash Bandicoot against Cloud Strife. So why not Crash? I think Crash is kind of like a underground fave.
Sure. I think it was for a while. Like if you'd asked this 25 years ago, like we might have had more of an inclination to choose Crash, but I think that the IP ball has been dropped a little bit with Crash. We just are not doing Crash stuff anymore. And I think even at its peak, it was not as big as like Spyro, who I would consider to be a competitor against Crash in that realm. Yeah. And the Spyro IP has lived a little longer than Crash has.
I think even at their peaks, Spyro was bigger than Crash.
I agree.
At least in my circles. But honestly, part of it was I was convinced that Naughty Dog's true icon was already going to have gone through. So I was like, we don't need Crash Bandicoot here. But then the other part of it is like, man, honestly, I just feel like Cloud is still culturally relevant in some ways. I mean, they just remade Final Fantasy VII like last year. And so, I don't know, just made sense to me.
Yeah. I'm changing my answer for the next one, Carter, by the way.
You're changing it.
I've changed my mind.
So it now becomes I'm losing my throat here. It's delirious. Well, Spring Delirium, living up to its name. The next matchup now is unanimous. Before, you were on different ends.
Yeah.
We had, is it GLaDOS or GLaDOS?
GLaDOS.
How do you pronounce it?
GLaDOS.
GLaDOS of Portal.
Yeah.
Against Ryu of Street Fighter. Doge had Ryu. What had
Interesting.
you move to and then now have GLaDOS win?
It was one of those instances where I defaulted to a battle to the death. And I don't know that I think GLaDOS could hang in that arena. But just as I'm thinking, the shape of our conversation is taking a much less fun, a much more serious route than I anticipated. And so I think like just from a significant standpoint, nobody thinks of the funny Street Fighter lines that say the cake is a lie, but everybody loves the cake is a lie from Portal. So
there you go. Jordan, just a retweet there.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that it's a sweep, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Even
I'm still hung
Ryu
up on the
probably has a
fact
leg
that
sweep.
I'm still hung up on apparently this conversation isn't fun enough for Doge.
no, I'm not saying it's not fun. It's not silly.
Oh, so were we supposed to be like Crash Bandicoot would eat a fruit all over Cloud Strife?
Yes, I thought we were going to be like Crash Bandicoot would sneak up behind Cloud and pull his pants down.
Even though we
see his
specifically
boxers.
said we weren't doing fight to the death.
He wouldn't die. He would just be embarrassed and go home.
Of our 5 matchups left, 2 of these were unanimous. I'm going to knock those out first, and then we're going to get to our final 3, in which you each will have to vouch for your champion. The Joel of The Last of Us and Bo Jackson of Tecmo.
Yeah.
Even Bo knows he lost that one.
Joel wins that matchup. And then we also had the matchup of Gordon Freeman of Half-Life, which I just felt like I needed to include that. Half-Life felt like it came and went, but Gordon Freeman kept showing up as one of these important characters.
Speaking of IP ball drops.
Yeah.
And he was against Pikachu
Yeah.
of Pokemon.
There was no
Pikachu,
hope. There was no hope for
Pikachu beats Gordon Freeman, who is basically Morgan Freeman. Our next matchup, we have Dr. Robotnik against Kratos. Kratos of God of War. Dr. Robotnik, the villain of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
Jordan said Dr. Robotnik.
He did.
Doge said Kratos. Talk to me. Let's start with Doge. Why Kratos?
In our world, in the meta world, not the metaverse, the meta world, our world, the real one. I think that the narrative achievements of the most recent God of War and the way that we can sort of reinvent a franchise that was, well received, but probably well received in a different sort of arena, according to a different metric than the most recent one. The way that can be reinvented, and even the care taken to the way that we kind of carefully dissect and surgically remove bits and pieces of Norse mythology to tell our story in God of War PS4. Plus, graphically, the way we're able to push that console to do things that I've yet to see really even replicated on current gen stuff. I just think the narrative achievement of God of War and the strength of Kratos as a character pushes him over the sort of one-note Dr. Robotnik in universe. I don't think that Dr. Eggman is capable of love, and I know that Kratos is. So,
Dang. Jordan? Dr. Robotnik.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the 2018 God of War?
yeah, I think
Is
so.
that right?
Yeah.
2018 God of War is like very good. I probably wouldn't go all the way up to masterpiece, but I would certainly tiptoe quite close to that line. It's a very good game.
I have no problem saying it's a masterpiece. Probably, honestly, one of the best games of that generation. Like a top 3 game of that generation for me.
Yeah, it's very, very good. Really what this boiled down to for me was that Kratos has 15 years of like South Park style heat behind him and then finally decided
Yeah,
to turn
that's
around
true.
and be like, I'm serious now, which I like. I like
Yeah.
I like that God of War is a game that looks itself in the eye and says, let's intentionally change
Grow
what
up.
we used to be. But
Grow up.
the old God of War
Yeah.
games are pretty problematic, and Dr. Robotnik
Yes.
has never had a sex-based minigame in any of his games. Plus,
We didn't hear about the new one coming out.
there's a distinct Robotnik heat right now. And so with Jimothy Carey and such. And so it felt right to me.
Man, it feels right. It feels right, but I can't let the shaming of the mini games throw me off. And I'm like, well, now do I have to?
Hey, and that wasn't it. I'm genuinely happy with either of these two
signing up to this Kratos. We're gonna have Kratos.
Jordan is saying that if we let Kratos move on, that he's going to tell people that
y'all nasty
mini game is our favorite.
Was their idea?
Yeah.
Oh no,
dude! Carter's lock screen is that one sex mini game from God of War. Did you guys hear about that?
It came with my Wii. I don't know. It's called Wii Sports.
Yeah, I'm talking about Wii Sports here. It's a video game bracket. We have 2 matchups left. Our next one is Chun-Li of Street Fighter against Desmond Miles of Assassin's Creed. The reason I chose Desmond was because he is the surrogate for, I think, the first 5 Assassin games.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to have like a recurring, and so I guess it kind of encompasses more of just that one video game and more of the series. So, Jordan, tell me why Desmond Miles for you.
Yeah, I mean, Assassin's Creed speaking of phenomenons, Assassin's Creed definitely was that. And since Desmond encompasses Ezio, which is the best character from Assassin's Creed, that was kind of why he got my vote.
See, that's why I don't want to interrupt you. I don't want to cut you off. That's why I did not choose him, because I think Desmond was the wrong person to choose. If it was Ezio, I would have said Ezio, absolutely. But Desmond himself as a character is nothing to me, because they dropped the ball on finishing his story.
For sure, but Chun-Li is even more nothing to me than Desmond could ever. I have literally no emotional.
But I've also never seen somebody dressed up as Desmond. Yeah. Nobody dresses up as Desmond at Comic-Con. Exactly. I dress up as Desmond most days then.
Yeah.
If hoodie and jeans is a Desmond costume. Yeah.
If we want to use video game jargon or metaphors, Desmond was kind of my game shark. I was trying to cheat a little bit and have him be whoever you wanted him to be, because ultimately that's what he was.
Because you didn't want Ezio and Altair to take up 2 slots.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so what ended up happening here is I'm going to go with Desmond for that reason. Now, the next matchup, we'll talk about all of these matchups just briefly before we wrap up our episode. And of course, we still have one more to finish this half of the bracket. But he will be playing Desmond against Joel.
Yeah, in my opinion, it kind of doesn't matter who's going through from this bracket. So,
yeah.
Our final matchup is a wild one. Solid Snake of Metal Gear against Banjo-Kazooie.
Yes.
Doge, why Banjo-Kazooie?
Fight to the death is tougher than you would expect. I think Fight to the death is a lot more even. Both have excellent range capabilities. Both have excellent aerial capabilities. Snake has a box. Banjo has Kazooie. Pretty even on both sides. But I think for me, I'm going Banjo-Kazooie because I can pick it up and understand it. I have tried to understand Metal Gear. I'm a smart guy. Love lore. Love digging into stuff. It is inscrutable. Completely. You heard it here first. It's inscrutable. I think that the games themselves are probably great. Cannot get into them.
Jordan?
I want to
Talk about Snake.
I want to address the fight to the death conversation first, I guess, because I just don't think you have seen anything from the Metal Gear games. And I think Banjo-Kazooie would get nuked from orbit.
Sure. But is Solid Snake himself that nuke?
I mean, no, but is he the bullet from a gun he shoots either? I mean, it's about their capabilities, I think. But beyond that, Metal Gear, yeah, it's inscrutable. It's wild. And I think even diehard fans of Metal Gear would probably tell you they barely understand what is going on at any given point.
I know, but Adam is not on this call right now, but Adam's a Metal Gear boy. Yeah. And if Adam was on this call, he would have smoke coming out of his ears like a cartoon man.
Yeah, the Metal Gear games are not my particular cup of tea. I don't really care for them. But Snake as a character is long enduring and hugely popular for all kinds of reasons, whether it's voice actor or just like iconic Hollywood-esque moments in the video games or the little exclamation point above the head. It was kind of those reasons that I went with Snake, because it's not Banjo-Kazooie the game versus Metal Gear Solid the game. It's Solid Snake versus Banjo and Kazooie in the backpack.
In this sense, I'm going to have to go with Snake.
Yeah,
but I think that's a lot of fun. As much as I think banjo beating Solid Snake would be hilarious. I
think likely.
He'd have to climb out of the crater. That's insane. You can't actually think that. It's like a bit for the show.
You can't tell me what I can and can't think.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out if it's a bit.
I'm not actually rapping. To wrap this up, we've done this half of the bracket. Now, we're not going to see these next matchups with the champions that we have here until a couple of weeks from now. So I would recommend if you're a Mini Monday skipper, which, okay.
Why would you do that?
Stay on board because for the next 5 and 6 weeks, we'll be going through this entire bracket. But moving on to the round of 32, the matchups will be Mario against Samus, Sub-Zero against Bowser, Zelda against Toad, Kirby against Pac-Man, Sonic against Cloud, GLaDOS against Kratos. Didn't mean that.
Very good.
Joel against Desmond, and Solid Snake against Pikachu. Spring Delirium. Other half of the bracket next week. If you feel like,
fun.
Where's they're probably all on the other side of that bracket. We're going to have some fun there. We even have a champion from Tetris. You'll see. To end this episode, I would love for you to give me your name and then tell me which of these first matchups which of these characters would you most like having you cook a meal? Or having cook a meal for you. Sorry. They are cooking you a meal. Who do you want home cooking from of this first half of the bracket? I'm Carter, and I'm going to say Pikachu.
Yeah.
While I understand it would probably be super healthy for me because I think Pikachu is probably just doing some foraging vibes.
Yeah.
I don't know Pika to be a carnivore. I do have a fun idea, like a fun thought of perhaps some roasted veggies from Lightning.
From his
like
tail.
From his tail. And I just wonder what that, I feel like it's
kind of like an air fryer, right?
100%.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I'm Doge. And I choose Sonic because I love sucking on a chili dog. And I know Sonic loves
where specifically?
Sucking on a chili dog from Sonic. And we go to Sonic with Sonic. And together we suck on a chili dog. I know you're trying to get me to say the lyric, but I'm serious.
I am.
We go to Sonic and they say, "Who's that with you?" And I say, "It's Sonic." And they say, "No way, here's free chili dogs for you to be sucking on."
I don't like it anymore. You've said sucking on too many times. I'm Jordan, and the funniest possible answer is Pac-Man because he eats all the time and probably knows good food. But my answer is Toad because I'm fairly certain he has been a chef at some point.
I think so. Yeah.
And I mean, he's got.
Certainly
the
in
white hat.
certainly in the new Mario Party, you've got the steak that you flip in the cast iron skillet.
Yeah. So he's got to know what's up. It's got to be Toad.
It's one of my favorite ones.
Got to be Toad.
Doge chose Toad. Jordan toast Toad.
Toast Toad. Toast Toad.
Toes. We're talking about podcast. We're talking about itty bitty podcast. A podcast.
Oh, that was terrifying.
Hi, I'm Flo from Progressive. Being a baseball fanatic like me can be stressful. It's not all sports points and touchdowns. So Progressive is going to help you take your mind off your team for a moment. Instead of thinking about how they missed that goal point score, think about the Name Your Price tool from Progressive letting you choose coverage options based on your budget, unlike your team that missed the end zone net area. Well, anyway, hope this distraction about Progressive's Name Your Price tool was helpful. It sure kept me from thinking about all those penalty balls. Yay, sports!
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.